Hi, I'm here to rank Mystique's roles in the X-Men films. Mystique uh, was one of the best characters in the X-Men films, and she got some really good roles in some of the films. In seventh place is X-Men The Last Stand. I like X-Men The Last Stand a lot more than a lot of people do. I think that it has a lot of really good stuff in it, and there's a lot of stuff in it that I feel very nostalgic about. I've never been a huge fan of Mystique's role in the film. Uh, I feel like she was abandoned way too early. I feel like what she gets isn't as bad as what Cyclops got to do, but it felt somewhat similar, where it seems like she's around for a little bit and then gets taken out of things. She barely has a role in the film. Uh, it's pretty underwhelming, in my opinion. Um, I wish that Mystique had stuck around and had actually gotten to contribute in a lot of the big stuff in the big finale for the trilogy. I feel like giving Mystique a lot to do rather than focusing on comedy relief for Juggernaut would have been good, even though Juggernaut does get some funny stuff, but I feel like Mystique should have been a higher priority. Um, in sixth place is Mystique's role in the first X-Men film. And going back to the first X-Men film and seeing Mystique is interesting because I feel like Mystique being the most important to Magneto isn't really explored that much in the first X-Men film. It feels like she's just one of the three that's helping him out along with Toad and Sabretooth. And what she gets to do is fine, but she doesn't feel like one of the big standout characters yet. Um, so I think her role works, but I don't think it's as interesting as what she got to do later on. In fifth place is Mystique's role in Dark Phoenix. Oddly enough, I think both films focusing on the Phoenix storyline have the problem of Mystique not getting enough to do. She does feel more prominent in Dark Phoenix than in The Last Stand, and I like seeing her get to be a leader for the X-Men and to really care about Jean Grey and try really hard to make things right. And for a while, she kind of feels like the heart of the team. And she could have gotten a lot of really good stuff to do, but I feel like she was taken out too early again. And considering that Mystique had been one of the most prominent characters in the film franchise up to that point, I feel like the way she was taken out, I feel like it was too soon in the film and too abrupt. And I don't think it was the best choice to take her character in. In fourth place is Mystique's role in X2. Easily her best role in the original trilogy. She feels a lot more prominent and a lot more important to Magneto, and I feel like she gets more involved in the main action, which is good. It feels like her full character development, stuff like that, isn't explored yet, but it does feel like a big upgrade from what she got in the first X-Men film. In third place is Mystique's role in X-Men Apocalypse. I actually really like her storyline in the film where she is given this reputation of being this really heroic character that a lot of characters look up to, but she doesn't personally feel that way. She had a moment where she could have done something really bad and she decided not to do that, but she doesn't feel like a full hero or anything, and I like her having to step up and be more heroic than ever before. And I think that her interactions with the other characters and her figuring out what she's gonna do is actually really interesting. In second place is Mystique's role in X Men First Class. I felt like the first X Men film where Mystique felt like one of the main characters, and she's great in the film. She starts off feeling confused about a lot of things, and it seems like she's really trying to discover uh, what she's gonna do, her morality, what sort of things she wants to do with her life, and she seems to really be struggling with a lot of things. And she has very different interactions with Professor X, Magneto, and Beast. And who she's going to follow, what path she's going to take in life, I feel like is really interesting. I feel like a lot of her sympathetic qualities are explored, and some of her not as great qualities are hinted at, and there's a lot of really interesting character development and stuff for her to go on. And first place is Mystique's role in Days of Future Past. I love her role in the film. Days of Future Past is a film that's great for a lot of reasons, and I feel like Mystique has such a wonderful, important role to play in the film, where it seems like she's trying to do what she thinks is good, but what she is trying to do is actually very bad for the future of the X-Men. And it's really interesting to see her explore her own path, separate from Magneto, but also separate from Professor X, where she's in this very complicated dynamic where Professor X and Magneto are both trying to stop her in very different ways. And seeing Mystique in the situation where she could do the bad thing, she could risk the future for everyone, and seeing her be tempted by a very bad desire and going against that and doing the right thing is so emotionally powerful to see. And Days of Future Past feels like a big film for Professor X, but it also feels like a big film for Mystique, and I feel like it shows her at her most interesting and has a lot of her best moments. So I think that Days of Future Past gave Mystique the best role in the films that she's ever gotten.